I recently just got all the achievements to Megabonk in around 40 hours, and it got me thinking. A lot of people may be struggling to complete all these achievements as well because of how obscure they are, so I've decided to go ahead and make a quick guide on the hardest achievements according to Steam, and how to go about it and how to get them. If you enjoy this video, feel free to subscribe, and let's jump right into it. So I'll just quickly say, challenges are going to be your best friend during this whole process for the most part, because you can unlock achievements during challenges. And this applies to all of them, not just the 3 hard ones I'm about to highlight, but people seem to struggle with a lot of these, and I will say that challenges do help out a lot, and they just make it easier, whether it be making chests cheaper, summoning more enemies, and so on and so forth. And now let me just highlight the ones that I will be talking about, which will be the Cactus Achievement, which is killing 100 cacti, with thorns. It will be charging all the charge shrines across all 3 stages without leaving for the Chaos Tome. And lastly, I'll be talking about the Hero Sword Achievement. Now, if you have questions about the Curse Tome, I actually have a guide to it to get it to level 20 in under 10 minutes. So it's on my channel. It's under a minute long, so not a long watch at all. I'll link it in my description as well. So let's just get started. And I'm going to start with literally the one that people have unlocked the least on Steam, and that is the Cactus Achievement. Now, this one's a real pain in the ass, and I can see why it's one of the lowest unlocked on Steam. And to be honest, this whole thing is just a lot of restarting over and over again. The main thing I did was go to the desert because it's the only place cactuses will spawn, and I activated the Swarm Challenge, which although it gives you 0.75 like less XP, you will get more enemies spawning in, which is the most important thing here. Then I toggled most of the items that would not help me during my journey, and since I'm going to be constantly bumping into enemies over and over, I had to get stuff that would help me health-wise. And the tomes, for example, I toggled all of them off except for regeneration, lifesteal, armor, thorns, HP, and shield tomes. Then basically the whole time I just prayed that I would get a spiky shield, which is an item that actually gives you 10% armor and gives you thorns based on that armor, so you could stack it really well. Or I would just pray I just get thorns in general because it was very difficult. It was either I had to restart the run because I didn't get thorns and cactuses were spawning, or it was I had to restart the run because I couldn't get any cactuses to spawn. So the whole trick to this one, like I said, is simple but monotonous. You load into the desert with the Swarm Challenge active, you level up and pray you get thorns, you open up chests hoping you get the spiky shield, and maybe you put in lifesteal or regen, and you put on something like armor or shield. I prefer armor because, like I said, the spiky shield will scale with that, and armor just helps you because the more you get hit, the less damage you'll take, so it just works out. Now, for the cactuses to spawn, you have to wait for the second wave of enemies. It'll always be the usual mummies that come in. If you don't see them by that second wave, you might as well restart your run because who knows if they'll come by, and it takes a while for the third wave to come in. And you basically rinse and repeat until you collect the 100 kills, which, by the way, you can conveniently track if you shift tab during your game and look at your achievements board, which is pretty cool. You can see how many more you're missing. And this one was the most annoying one I've had to do out of all the achievements here, if I'm being honest. It looks simple, but it just is so annoying having to get thorns or some sort of regeneration or healing. As for the characters, I know you may be thinking to yourself, with a run like this, maybe I should get Athena because you get thorns upon level up and she deals more damage the lower health she is. But because of her Aegis, I found that it makes it very hard and kind of useless for this challenge. And that's because those kills, when you bump into people, end up becoming Aegis kills most of the time, and it's just annoying running up to enemies right when your shields are gone, and then they come back as soon as you kill them, so it just doesn't contribute at all toward the thorns kills. I could be incorrect about that, but when I was doing a run, I had a pretty good run where I was just bumping into enemies constantly, and I did not get any kills. I think I got 3 thorns kills, and I had a very good run with Athena. So I just went with Amag because poisoning enemies didn't kill them all the time, and if I did need them to die, the poison was pretty good. And then I just put on a weak secondary like Black Hole. Then I just waited for the poison to kill the enemies, got back to XP, leveled up my tomes over and over, waited for the cactuses to come in. Then I would just bump into them constantly, and a lot of trial and error. Like I said, lots of restarts, but if you really want it that bad, this is the easiest way. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little freebie, a little 2-in-1 with this next achievement, because it's actually going to be possible to get them both at the same time, and you could do it all in one run, and that will be the getting 10k kills with Birdo and charging all the charge shrines across every stage without leaving. Now, I will say that the forest is the best for this because of the lack of tornadoes pulling you away from the charge shrines, but also I really like the verticality in here, and if you use a character like Birdo, you can upgrade your jumps with the shrines that you're, using, or maybe you'll get some items that help you basically fly up across the stage and glide around. And while you're in this gliding mode and you're going around, maybe you got some extra jumps, or maybe you just like really upgraded your jump height. You go around and you search for charge shrines, just kind of like a plane or something, just going around. And the trick to this one will be just finding all the shrines. That's going to be the hardest part. Keep in mind, there are 15 charge shrines across every single stage, so you better be counting how many you do in order to ensure that you have them all before leaving the stage, because it would be the worst if you think you charge them all, get to the last one and realize the achievement didn't pop up. Now, I forgot to turn on proper items and tomes for this run because I was still using the cactus setup from before, but I figured, hey, it'd probably still work out. I didn't get all the way, but I did before. And you could just get something like the black coal, because the tornado with Birdo is already good because it pushes away enemies. You add on black coal, that's 2 things that'll push away enemies. And this is incredibly useful for charging the charge shrine because it pushes them away. And if you have other items like wrenches during your run, I think it's 7.5% increase the charge speed. It'll make it a whole lot easier. And with this run, you don't want to activate things that'll make your life harder. Remember, the end goal isn't to become strong enough to decimate the final boss, but rather it's just to become strong enough that you won't die by stage 3. So I recommend just going with a simple setup, attack speed, quantity, damage, and maybe a movement tome. Depends if you have a hard time finding all 15 across every single stage. With Birdo, it's easy because you can glide around, as I said. But if you don't have Birdo unlocked, you can use someone like Calcium to speed around, and you already don't want to get hit. So it, helps incentivize you to not get hit during the charge shrine, because if you get hit with Calcium, you lose that movement speed, you lose more damage. But really, you could do it with any character. Like I said, I just want to prioritize movement speed. But if you get Birdo, like I said, you could fly up, go around like a plane. It'll help you find everything. And on the way to stage 3, you should get really close to those 10k kills, if not already exceed it. And again, if you feel like you don't want to test your luck, go ahead and summon that boss as soon as you finish charging all the charge shrines, if you're confident with the damage output you're putting out, because you don't want to end up losing it all maybe like stage 2 because you got too greedy and wanted to become stronger and stronger and have a good run. This is just to get the Chaos Tome, and you just want to get the achievement. So you don't want to wait too long and have the horde come by and you end up dying right before you could get to the next stage. Now for our last achievement, which is going to be the Hero Sword. And this one is relatively easy. You get this one by not picking up any power-ups, items, or shrines during the whole first stage. I don't know if you're allowed to open pots or not. I chose not to just to be safe. But if someone in the comments could clarify if they tried it and it worked with the pots, let us know in the comments because it'll make it easier for others. The pots help out with money and XP, so it's just naturally really good. But yeah, I just went with tier 1 with this one because there's no need to get higher than this. And I selected our boy Amog again because of his handy primary weapon, and that is the Poison Flask. With this, we'll be able to kill the boss relatively quickly, and my strategy is to just restart till I'm extremely close to the final boss and summon him immediately, because the longer you wait to summon him, the more health he will have. And sure, it's only a couple thousand, but for this achievement, any little bit helps. And the whole thing I did was just kite around a group of monsters and pick up their XP and just level up Poison Flask a decent bit, like maybe level 3 or 4. Just focus on damage and duration, not size or projectile speed. And with my Poison Flask dealing more damage and lasting longer, I basically just train around the area poisoning enemies, because as soon as they blow up, it infects other enemies and poisons them even more. So you're running around the boss, poisoning the little minions under it, poisoning the boss more. And if you pick up a quantity tome, it's even better because you spit out poison even more. You'll have multiple flasks. So with those multiple flasks that you spit out that have longer duration and more damage, it's gonna be a cakewalk, I'm not gonna lie. I did it in around 4 minutes, but the whole strategy is just to attack them with as many poison flasks as you can, summon the boss as soon as you can, and just ensuring that you don't get hit, because it's gonna be hard if you don't have something like lifesteal. You can get that. I got that during this run, and with that lifesteal, you can sort of survive a bit more. But yeah, you just want to spread Amog's poison, get the crowd to die around the boss, and then just play the waiting game. Thankfully, it's not too long of a waiting game. You just kind of have to kite around enemies and make sure you don't pick up any chest, power-ups, and again, don't even bother like touching the shrine. Just keep that all in mind in the back of your head while you're training these enemies and just poisoning them more and more. But there you go. Now, those were the top 3 hardest achievements in my opinion and according to Steam. If you have any others you're struggling with, you can comment down below, and hopefully me and other commenters will do our best to help you out, and I hope you all enjoyed.